the network, the neurons, the mastermind. With second brain, they entertain. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Second Brain podcast, and we have a very special guest here today. It is my good friend Michael Masurkevitch, also from the Art of the Roll Dungeons and Dragons gameplay, and we have to talk about episode, I believe it's 39, where they just had an epic battle with the Red Wizard. Here's Michael now.
What's up? Paul,
Hey,
thank you for
Michael.
having me on here.
You're welcome.
The other day,
Thank you for coming.
of course, the other day I was chatting with someone and we were talking about how our second brain has become our technology. It remembers things for us, it processes things for us. So yeah, second brain it's a good name. It's very
Yeah.
apropos.
I called this the Second Brain podcast because I was always calling myself the second brain to my friend who is always kind of like, hey, thanks for reminding me of that, and hey, yeah, thanks for telling me. And I'm like, oh, your second brain's here to help you, because you know what the old saying is, two brains are better than one.
Huh. Yeah, as long as they stay in their respective skull casings, I guess. I wouldn't want to try to put a second one in. I
Oh,
think that would be.
that's a D&D thing for sure. Second,
Mm.
second consciousness, or a divine person in your head.
Huh. Yeah, Fitz has something similar to that.
So
Had while he
let's
was alive.
so Mike, let's talk about how this all came about. How did you get involved with this Art of the Roll campaign? How did this all come about?
You know, um, I've always loved Dungeons and Dragons. I once tried to DM a game for my child and his cousins and my sister. Uh, I I played with some friends, pretty in like was it university or something. So I love the game. I love the acting and the improv in the game because those are things I really enjoy. And then yeah, I guess Greg's wife Rena knew that Greg wanted to put some actors together for a really in-depth D&D live stream. So she was friends through the programming community with Mark Brombacher, who was friends with myself and Amalia and Jessica through the acting community. So Rena was like, "Hey, Mark, put some actors together. We're playing D&D." And Mark was like, "Hey, actors." And I was like, "I love D&D." So they pulled me on. And then I knew that Paul loves D&D. So I was like trying to figure out my character, and I was like, "Hey, Paul, so like let's say I want this. How do I do that?" And Paul's like, "Oh, you could probably do this." So you
Yes,
know,
I, I, I am a proud Dungeons and Dragons daddy for helping you create that character. And
and what a beautiful character too.
oh,
You know?
you just made him flourish. I mean, throughout the episodes that you did with Art of the Roll, it was like, all right, Mike, you need to remember you have to have these spell cards. You need to remember your spells. You need to remember these things because if you don't remember, you may miss an opportunity in
Oh
game.
yeah. I mean that so this one time we were exploring the Underdark through the chasm in the Yawning Portal Tavern. So we're going down there, and Alpha, our ranger, decides to bring her massive bear, and so we tie him to the cart,
Oh,
and the
Patty.
rest of us, Patty, yeah. So the rest of us go down first, and a week before, from the lover that broke Fitz's heart, my character Fitz learned the spell Levitate, which is part of the dark elf magic. Fitz is half
Yes.
dark elf,
In case you didn't know.
and yeah, and then this bear, the stuff tying the bear comes off. He's about 20 feet in the air. He starts plummeting towards the earth, and Fitz slash me completely forgets that he just learns how to literally levitate, how to literally just bloop, you're in the air now. And he had completely forgotten this and tried to like use Mage Hand to try to stop the bear from falling. And Mage
Five,
Hand like can hold like 10 pounds.
10 pounds,
So
yeah.
yeah, so like the Mage Hand probably reduced the damage the bear took by like 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
But had he remembered that a few nights ago he learned how to levitate things, he would have been like, "Oh, hey, boom, your bear's fine, no problem."
Yeah.
Totally forgot.
And that's the perfect example of remembering your spells because, like spell cards, like I said, if they're in front of you and you're looking at them and then going, oh, yeah, I can use that in this critical moment,
Mhm.
then it's like, haha, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. And coaching you on future powers that you've got was, don't forget you have this, use it more often.
True. Although I think that in a way that's very much like real life as well. Like the first time you learn that you can, you know, use your ancient family bloodline magic to lift something in the air, you're like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then something's falling and you're like, "Ah!" But it takes a few times before you're like something's falling and instead of being
Yeah.
like, "Ah," you're like, "Oh, wait. I
It
can do
takes you
this."
a few
Bloop,
times
bloop,
to
bloop,
get
bloop, bloop.
used to the extra power that you've been granted and going,
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
true.
yeah, I can do this now. And it'll snap to you sometimes. Be like, oh, yes,
One
I want to scale this wall. Wait, I have levitate.
Yeah. Hey, can you climb this? Like I'm like grunting and climb. Wait a second. Yeah. One thing I will
Yeah,
say though is that it's easier to remember when the powers have meaning, and that is something that Greg has done a really good job of, and that I've really put effort into doing as well. Where, for example, the reason Fitz knows the blink spell is because he kept dying and was having like a crisis and was like praying to his goddess, and then she brought him into this dream and he's screaming and she starts sword fighting him, and then she kicks his ass and she's like, okay, so you need to take people by surprise here, and like shows him like it, in a sexy and beautifully romantic way, shows him how to walk through the ethereal plane. Well, it's easy to remember that I have blink because I learned it through like, something very say. And but then again, levitate was taught to Fitz to get to the hideaway of his erstwhile lover, this trans dark elf. So,
yeah, that
you
broke
got to
your
remember that
heart.
as well. Oh God,
You
God,
were
yeah.
so salty after that.
Fitz is really, really mad. Yeah, and honestly, the actor Michael Masurkevitch was also really upset.
I know, but you were so salty, and it was like you played it so well. And of course,
Thank you.
Jessica was taking you for everything.
Yeah,
Jessica was Jessica was so poking. It was just pouring salt in that wound.
yeah. I mean, all of our people are really fun to play with, but I love that Jessica, like, yeah, when Fitz's heart was broken, Enigma started poking him and being like, "Oh, hey, I'm just so happy with Greyhide," and he was like, "Ugh." And
Yeah.
then yeah, and then they went out one night and she roofied him with MDMA, and then that was just a crazy
Oh yeah.
night. Like,
That night when she roofied him, and then the whole women in the bar, and then the woman stole 50 gold from you when you just got paid.
yeah, yeah, lost a paycheck to MDMA. Although Fitz also like tried to kiss a man, then thought he was Jarlaxle, and then punched him, and then the man ran away, and then briefly thought he had defeated the massively powerful pirate lord.
Yeah. And of course, then you
Such a
went
fun episode.
home and you went into the wrong bedroom, which was Greyhide. I think, no, it was Greyhide's old bedroom. Not,
Right.
yeah, you were naked or something.
Well, at Greyhide's bedroom, Greyhide was sleeping with Enigma, so
Yes.
he wasn't in his bedroom. So Fitz stumbles into his bedroom, passes out, and then has another Elisare vision dream that
Yes.
once again leads to Dreamworld sex. So then Fitz does terrible things in Greyhide's bed, and
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were a pretty raunchy podcast. Oh man, come to
But
think of it,
yeah, but I mean, you've had some great adventures.
yeah, yeah.
And I've got to say, through sewers, through what I can only describe as a great name for brain puppies.
Brain puppies. God, those things are horrible and cute, but so
Yeah,
horrible.
because, dogs that suck brains, um, and can make
Basically,
your character idiots.
yeah.
So,
I you know, I really enjoyed creating this character. Um because he's Fitz is sort of, well, he's so ready to be in love with people and things and situations, and that just makes him really fun to play, especially when the other characters are like grumbling or like trying to keep something a secret, and Fitz can just bounce in and say,
yeah,
"Hey, we're doing this," and they're like,
let's let's go on that
although
topic.
Greyhide does that too.
Let's go on that topic where you had the opportunity to lose your virginity, but rejected Enigma, who came on to you, giving a bit of your own medicine of seduction, and then you rejected her, and she was super salty from then on.
Yeah.
And
Well,
oh my god.
and it was pretty hilarious. I mean, the rejection scene was so funny. Are you gay? Not precisely. Like
The
there's
whole "you are gay" lasted like a few episodes.
several sessions. Yeah. Also, I mean, the scene was hilarious, but Greg and I worked very hard to have some depth to the character. In addition to like his near death experience and his
Yeah.
loss of his best friend when, right before he met the other companions, and that was a big part of his story. But
Yes.
another thing is that the Drow society is really, the women are
Domineering.
controlled and taught to be horribly abusive and controlling to the men.
Yes.
Um, so then, Fitz is a second generation where his mother was human, his father was Drow, but his father was still carrying all the emotional scars of abuse at the hands of women. So Fitz growing up would be regularly beaten by his father and told that it was because his mother was angry. So Fitz actually had some serious daddy issues and mommy issues, and and one of the things that his father told him that was very much a part of Drow society is that if you are Drow and you penetrate or are penetrated by, in particular, a woman, but it goes both ways, you are then enslaved to the woman that you have sex with. So
Yes.
Fitz's whole life, he's going around seducing and filleting and touching and just, has this massive libido and this massive sense of romance and wonder, but is absolutely terrified to actually penetrate or be penetrated
Because it's a
because,
deeply, deeply personal, uh, abusive psychology within Fitz.
yeah, within Fitz, that's carried over as like an echo of his father's of his father's life. So, so when Enigma starts coming onto him, Fitz actually really liked Enigma, but was
But
kind of like, I don't think I can not penetrate this once, and we're about to start working together. Like maybe we just shouldn't. And Enigma was just like, you know, just steamrolled over him, and then it
oh yeah,
was
she
really funny.
totally took the rejection super hard,
Yeah.
and she abused you like your father would.
Well, yeah, differently than my father would, more verbally,
Oh yeah.
but very viscerally, but in a really funny way. I mean, she did that really, really
Oh,
funny.
she did it so comically, but then
Yeah.
she got the whole bitten by a she got so her past came back to her, and then we had the whole she's not a vampire.
Oh man. Yeah, that was really funny. And in a small way, because of, the weird choice that Greg gave her when she was entering the world of death, she wasn't fully a vampire. She was just like 90% a vampire.
Yeah,
She was just mostly she just also drank blood and could turn into a bat.
yeah,
Totally
she
not a
was just
vampire though.
hashtag not a vampire.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
got redeemed. Then she got redeemed and became human again.
true, yeah. Well, and it was a lot of effort to make sure that we did the ritual, which essentially involved killing her and then catching her soul and putting it back in her body. So it was like pretty complex. It's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
complex to de-vampirize her. Um, but it worked. Totally. Where were we, sir?
So we're on now Amalia, her character, and the problems that you had to deal with breakfast sandwiches with Grey Hyde and with Amalia's trouble with this red wizard guy.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think Alpha and so Alpha is also Fig. For anyone who doesn't watch Art of the Roll, Alpha
Spoiler,
is
spoiler
yeah.
alert.
Well, spoiler from like episode 12 when she finally
But
revealed
if
her
our
true
audience
nature
hasn't
and
seen
blew
Art
us
of the
away.
Rule, if they haven't seen Art of the Rule, spoiler alert, you can stop watching now and go to watch Art of the Rule now on both Twitch and on YouTube. Uh,
You probably should. We're pretty funny.
oh, they're amazing. Uh, so go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, so Alpha is this human ranger and she's surly and she's practical
Changeling.
and she's no nonsense. Well, and then in episode whatever, she reveals that she's actually a changeling named Fig and that Alpha is just the alter ego that she wears to be able to fit in human society. So we were all like, "Whoa." And then we found out that like she had been kidnapped and experimented on by this evil red wizard who also killed her family. And then this one time when we were still dealing with Jarlaxle and Felric had just betrayed Fitz and broken his heart and taken the Stone of Galore and we were dealing with that and Fitz was kind of in a dark place. And then this raven has been following us around and around and around, but one of the last things Felric gave to Fitz before betraying his ass was the spell of Detect Magic. So this raven is coming up to Alpha and it's been following around and is detecting and is like, oh, this is a lot of magic on this raven. I'm gonna try this new spell that Felric showed me that I've never tried before called Detect Magic. Just like rolled stupidly high because sometimes the game just wants something to happen.
Right.
And in a massive explosion of black energy from the red wizard's hand, the raven became Alpha's father. Um, and then, then we found out that the red wizard was actually staying in town and sort of posing as the reincarnation of the head of this one gang that was also kind of a guild that we were also kind of members of, the
And
Zentorum.
what Zentorum? Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, Manchun of the Zentorum. And then we were like, okay, we're not powerful enough to take on this red wizard yet, but Jarlaxle just stole our rock. So let's go give him a talking to. And then the negotiation became almost a fight, and we realized we were all going to die, and Greyhide turned into a rat, and Jarlaxle started laughing and said, listen, I won't kill you if you guys kill the red wizard. So then we, went to the
So you didn't die.
centaurs. Huh?
So you
We
didn't
didn't
die.
die that time. Not then. No. But yeah, but then we just pulled together some allies
Yeah.
and said
Mhm.
we're gonna go after the red wizard, and these doom
Yeah.
raiders who are
And
like super badass were like, yeah, maybe we'll come with you, maybe we'll help you out, we hate that guy
so,
too.
so if I remember correctly, you've
Yeah.
you've met a dragon.
Yeah, we met a we had potions of underwater breathing, and we went for a swim, and Fitz kept his shirt on because he was like nervous about his scars, but Greyhide had a chainmail speedo and like scared off some sharks, which was hilarious, but somehow he managed to communicate with sharks. And then there was this cute little dragon that Alpha talked to, uh and Enigma fucking robbed. Not robbed, tricked out of like, yeah, sold a shitty purse that she had jacked off of someone for like 2 gold that it wasn't worth. Grifted, that's the word.
Right.
An Enigma grift. So yeah, so we've grifted a dragon. We uncovered a plot of a rich family that's actually preparing to feed orphans to devils, and
The
has a
dragon
basement.
wasn't the dragon that told you something about an object, stone of something.
Well, the dragon didn't have any information about the Stone of Galore. We did ask. The dragon gave us the information that dragons are actually, there's a certain limit, a certain magical bubble around the city through which dragons cannot cross,
Right. Right.
which, unless they're invited. And we almost invited the dragon in, and then they were like, no, Fitz, don't do that. Like, he probably should stay outside of the city.
Another
But
one
he's
of
a really nice dragon. He totally agreed to stop fucking with people.
mm. So then you went
Yeah.
to the family house with
Yes.
Fitz, uh, Fig. I believe everyone was there.
Yeah.
And this was why she was a vampire.
Yes. So the castle lanterns, this rich family who suddenly came into crazy money and had this orphanage, and you're like, and everyone, this one guy, Mert in town, Mert's just like, yeah, pretty sure they did something illicit because who just comes into money? Also, nobody's seen their child in a while. So we investigated their orphanage and found a tunnel underneath that led to devils. And we fought a devil, and that's when Greyhide discovered that when a paladin crits and uses Divine Smite, it really works really, really well.
Yes, but he also discovered that you shouldn't accidentally dedicate yourself to a demon god.
Yeah. Because then, so after the orphanage, we went to their house, and we had this cool sting operation, and Alpha was we like kidnapped one of their guards, and Enigma like charmed him with her vampire powers to like tell us everything, and
Nice.
Alpha took his form, and then we
Nice.
like went into their, we sort of infiltrated their house, and all this crazy stuff was happening, and then we were going to get caught, and then Lady Castle-Lantern comes out to be like, what the hell's happening here? And and Greyhide is just like, we're here from the theater. We're thespians, because this is the stupid lie that he uses over and over again, and it's hilarious. And she was like, "Oh, do you mean the underground theater?" And Greyhide was like,
Sure.
"Yes." So she takes Greyhide and Enigma down, and it turns out that they have like a massive cavernous labyrinth of chanting cultists and devils, and that they've sold their souls and firstborn and a bunch of orphans to the head devil Asmodeus, and then they're gonna kill Greyhide, and this demon entity comes up and is like, and Craig did such a good job of this. This demon entity comes up and is like, "Would you like to live? You could pledge yourself to me." And Greyhide's like, "Well, I don't see anything else to do here." So then for a while, our paladin was
Evil.
pledged to a demon, and yeah, and not a nice guy.
And
And
I believe at one point he said, "Hey, murdering children's not that bad."
yeah, he said a lot of things that
He
Fitz
did a lot of
disagreed with.
things bad too.
It's funny because when we started playing, Fitz was the roguishly seductive aristocrat with a corporate espionage background for his grandfather's clothing company, and Greyhide was the stalwart paladin. So I figured that Greyhide would be calling Fitz out a lot and being like, "Hey, you need to go on the straight and narrow." And then it turns out that our stalwart paladin is like has a gambling problem, a drinking problem, a breakfast sandwich problem, uh, does doesn't dislike murder as much as a paladin should. Uh, yeah, just
God,
signed
he
on
has
with a
so many
demon for a
flaws.
while. Yeah. And now the average session will have at least one component where Greyhide will be like, "We should just do this," and Fitz is like, "No, we're not killing anyone. Can we stop killing? Can we?" So it's funny because like that dynamic has really switched.
And it really
Like,
works for the dynamic of the group. It's like Fitz goes on a Fitz with Greyhide.
yeah, throwing a Fitz. I like that.
Yeah.
Throwing a Fitz.
So as the episodes progress, you eventually got to a point where you were gathering all these groups together because you had apparently, was it Fig and someone who had found a force field around this uh, mansion or tower or something,
Yeah. Well, we all went to go check it out, and we were like, "Oh, look, a force field," and then some birds were like flying into it and dying. So
right?
Fig was like, "Oh, dead birds. Maybe Angelo can cook them." And she like brought him a basket of dead birds, and he was like, "No, no,
Um,
thank you."
Angelo
Uh,
has also been a big part of the art of the rule, has he not? From the beginning,
oh yeah,
almost to
yeah,
the because if I remember correctly, Alpha was sort of a stingy and sort of laid back sort of, hey, I just want money. I want everyone to give me money. And
well,
then
she
and
had
she was like
huge trust
really good at
issues.
she was really good at negotiating. It's like, no, no, you give me double.
Yeah, someone would be like, "We're gonna pay you this much," and we'd all be like, "Great, let's go do this adventure." And Alpha would be like, "I'll take this much up front and this much later," and they'd be like, and Greg would be like, roll to persuade." I mean, there were times where she got us some great paychecks.
Oh yeah, yeah. But then she met Angelo, and then
Yeah.
suddenly she just switched, and it was like, and now she's all lovey-dovey.
Well, and she already had a bit of a switch where Alpha was stern and rugged and practical and trusted nobody. But once she showed somebody her side of her that was
Yeah,
Fig, she wouldn't show very many people Fig. It took a lot of time before she trusted Greyhide and Fitz enough to show off who she really was. But Fig is sort of cute and vulnerable and a little bit emotional and a little bit naive because Alpha was the stern face that she created over top of her vulnerable true self, which is Fig. And then Angela walked in and it was just love at first sight, and now she just can't shut up about him, and we'll be like in the
so
middle of battle and she'll be talking about him
so
because of channel points, and it's
talking, I was
like,
going to say channel points. Let's talk about channel points for a moment.
oh man.
So every episode now
Yeah.
let's talk about channel points. So, when you go to start an episode, what are you thinking about when you go live and channel points?
I mean, well, at this point, we've gotten used to the channel points. I know that at some point, hopefully, someone's going to make me take a couple shots. I know that at some point, someone's probably going to say Fitz has to seduce the next NPC, but sometimes Fitz just seduces the next NPC anyway. And I know that there's a reasonable percentage chance that at some point, Greyhide will be in the middle of something intense and they'll make him have a mood swing. Or Fitz will be having a lot of shit going on and they'll make him accidentally say his internal monologue out loud. Or Alpha will be in a situation where she really has to focus on something and they'll make her talk about Angelo. Or we'll be in like a tough negotiating situation and like everyone's just like, okay, we're trying to be polite here, we didn't mean to, and the chat is going to make Enigma insult someone and give them the finger.
Or
So just
or make Fitz seduce them.
or that, yeah. Or make Greyhide. Like I remember once we were sneaking into we were trying to find Greyhide's sister, and we were sneaking. Oh, this is actually a good story for channel points. So we're sneaking in, and like Fitz has dark vision, so he's like peeking around into this big room and like whispering to the others, like, I see this, I see this. And it's this massive cavern, and there's all these little Kinku guards all over the place. And then the channel points paid for Greyhide to yell headlong into danger. So Fitz is just like, okay, I think I see this. And Greyhide's like, good, yeah, maybe we should go headlong into danger, danger, danger. And then all the guards are like waking up and they're swarming, and Fitz is like, Jesus Christ, like firing them out of the air with his Eldritch Blast and accidentally killing one, which Greyhide's sister was mad at later. But then later, they got to Greyhide's sister, and the chat kept putting channel points to make Fitz roll to seduce, and then giving Fitz inspirations and rerolls to make absolute until pretty soon it would be like I think the third roll to seduce was like I was like, fine, all right, and then I like Fitz said something charming to her and made some eye contact, and I rolled a persuasion roll, and then they gave me like 2 inspirations, and I was like, why not? And I used them, and then it ended up being like a dirty 20 to like seduce her, and she was like, well, she was really into Fitz because the channel points made it so.
And how
Alternate
does Greyhide feel about this?
Initially not great, but it did convince his sis. It was a Fitz's seduction was a factor in convincing his sister to consider someday leaving the Xanathar and finding her freedom, or at least coming up to visit her brother if Fitz would be there. So, I think Greyhide eventually saw that,
Some
there
time
was
in
some
seduction.
positive points to what had happened, as opposed to the chat kept using channel points to have Fitz try to seduce Alpha's father after he woke up from being a raven, and until Alpha was just like
Oh yes.
lost her shit, punched
Oh
Fitz in the face.
oh yeah. She was
Uh
not happy with you trying to
oh,
seduce her father.
and this was right after the Felric rejection and Felric
Yes.
betrayal. So she
Yes.
like used her changeling powers to morph into Felric to look at Fitz and then punch him in the face, just to make it as absolutely emotionally painful as possible. And then I think her bear sat on me.
Yeah, that was true. Because she would
So
that has got to be the most pissed off I've ever seen Fig and actually shift into doing something that's visually painful, physically painful, and then use her power to go, all right, now I have my bear and he's going to sit on you.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
can no longer seduce or do anything.
I mean, by this point, like her poor father is like hobbling back to his feet, and Fitz was just throwing lines at him, and
The
it made
chat
sense
was
that she had enough.
the chat was unrelenting that night because they were like, "Yep, nope, we want Fitz to screw up, piss off a Fig," and the chat was
Yeah,
just like, "This is
and it worked.
hilarious." Yeah,
And they've done some great, like when it first came out that Greyhide could have a mood swing. That episode was so funny because you
and
know, and
was
it
that
was a plot heavy episode for him
was
too
that
because
not the episode? Was that not the episode they also released accents?
oh, and Greg's accents. Yeah, I don't know if that was the same episode, but making Greg do accents is really popular. I mean, Greg is a fantastic DM, and I love the voices he does for the characters. And I love, when he's being Elisare or Felric and having romantic scenes. It just, it's just, oh, it's so good, and it just feels so real.
Yeah,
But
it just
he's,
pops up and
but
goes,
he's,
wheel accent.
yeah. But then it turns out that he's actually terrible at accents.
Yeah, because
All
he's been
most
asked
accents.
to, yeah, he's been asked to do anything from Captain Kirk, Trudeau,
Yeah.
Trump, uh, an orange. I
The
mean,
other day, yeah. The other day they were just like, do a British accent. And in my head I was like, ah, thank God. At least he can do a British accent, right? Like
well,
I do one every stream in front of him
but
as Fitz,
it
and
actually it
he
actually
sounded
turned out that he did Australian.
it's yeah. Yeah, well, it kind of was, yeah. I think it started out kind of Texan, and I was like, how is this at all British? And then it sort of morphed its way towards Australian.
I know, right?
It's pretty funny though.
It
Yeah.
is really quite funny, and
And
Greg
it's
really is quite the because he does these Snapchat filters that he adds with
yeah.
his voicing of the character, and he does them just for fun in the beginning too, and that's great. Uh, and they just add such a great layer of entertainment to the show itself.
I agree with that. And he's also you know, Greg is amazing with how much he integrates our backstories that we came up with, like Fitz's whole story about his dark elf father that gave him a message to bring to town, and then his caravan got attacked and everybody died except him. And then a goddess saved his life and
Yeah,
banged him and gave his powers. So Greg has taken the entire Waterdeep Jarlaxle, this entire aspect of Waterdeep, which is Jarlaxle and Felric, and he has beautifully integrated every piece of it with Fitz's story, and it's amazing. He's
yes.
brilliant at this, and it
So
continues to come up. And he's
yes,
done that with Alpha
and
and the
so
Red Wizard, Greyhide and his sister, Enigma and the vampire that attacked us. Like for each of us, he has taken the backstory we've crafted and just worked it into the fabric of Waterdeep and of our stories, and he's brilliant at it. It's so fun to play.
so let's get into the nitty gritty here, and let's 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 watch this clip.
Oh
Uh,
no.
let's watch this clip of your epic death and talk about it after. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's just share this screen and no.
The group is saying they want to bring me back. I really hope they do.
Well, it
I
is a
love.
wish. It is a wish spell, right?
Yeah. And
So,
they did find a book about making wish spells in the Red Wizard's library, before all that other shit happened.
which I was not expecting, but Wow. And I was like,
Tell
oh,
you,
we can bring him back.
maybe. I mean, I'll tell you what I wasn't expecting. The magical fireplace in the room that we were all trying to take a short rest in, turning into a ball of fire. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Should have been. Mistakes were made. Whatever.
Alright, let's see if this works.
Right.
Alright, there we are. There we are.
Where are we? Hi. This is
Wow.
now an ASMR video.
Alright,
Hello
so,
and welcome to the Second Brain Podcast.
alright, so can we see this? Do you see that? Oh, wait.
I just see our faces.
Alright, one sec. Try that again.
Okay.
Try that again.
Behind me is my son's artwork on my wall.
Nice.
And a druid headset as well. That's a druid headpiece that I sometimes used to wear for my old D&D character.
You sing with.
Yeah, you've seen me in it. Favorite for Halloween as well. So we've got a staff too. It's actually based on... I took my character and brought it to an artist, Shadow Fox, who's amazing and who is on Instagram. She drew a picture of a druid based on what I wanted, and then I found an artist to throw me together a leather cowl based on her drawing.
Nice. Well, I figured it out.
Okay, good.
Now let's watch her epic death, and we'll talk about it after.
You can, at the beginning of your turn, since you have blink on, you can pick 10 feet and teleport there. Yes.
So
I attempt to do that. I attempt to teleport to the other side of the wall, or find any way that the Imperial sneak and snaggle through this wall. As you manifest back to the material plane, you look at that spot, knowing that that's where you want to go, and boop, you appear on the other side of the wall. Yes! That's fantastic.
Nice.
You get your full round.
I
hold the gem in my hand, and I...
my internet was terrible.
Like towards the red wizard, or just anywhere on the ground?
Yeah, where do you smash it? At his feet. At the ground between our feet, I throw the... Okay.
Oh, it's dangerous. I choose you, Pikachu.
Yes. The red wizard gets pushed over to the side. The bed gets slung against the wall as this large earth elemental appears. What command
Not
do you give it?
Pikachu. Probably more like Onyx
Now
or something.
because this is what I tell it. I tell the rock thing, kill this guy and break his stick. No, I tell him, break the stick. Really? Okay. And then do I have anything left after that?
Break the stick, and you can see Greg go, oh my god, everything I've planned for.
Use the gem. Guy was holding it. You still have a bonus action still if you had something for bonus action. And you have movement technically if you want to move somewhere.
And I'm frozen.
Smack that ass. I'm going to walk around to flank the red wizard to beat the red wizard, and then can I use my bonus? Do I have this action to go
back into the ethereal plane?
No, it's actually just a chance you roll to see if it happens.
Or is that just sort of the thing that makes...
Go ahead and roll a d20.
So in that case, so I use my bone action to just take a slice at him. Because I materialize my scimitar into my hand down, and I use my... It can just...
Okay,
that
go ahead and do an attack.
Gets a hit.
Usually you can't do an offhand attack, but your special weapon lets you do this. So yes, you can.
Ha!
Yeah, the Scimitar of Speed.
Slice.
Oh, what a good weapon.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. My speed comes out, and I reroll because
Are you gonna-
18 is probably not enough. Just my reroll, and it's another 9. And do I have inspiration to use?
You do.
I use no. I don't use my inspiration. I use my reroll. I use my reroll.
Whoa.
I'm trying to hit this
Whoa.
stupid fuck. And it's even worse. So I just sort of slice it,
Oh.
and nothing happens. And, I
Yes.
feel extremely stupid.
Interesting enough. Oh, you got another
So,
inspiration. Interesting enough, you slash down.
use of rerolls. Oh my god! And then I roll.
You do not go into ethereal plane because you rolled a 1 on the d20.
shit!
But as you slash down with your scimitar, it actually deflects off of his robes. It's like his robes have like this arcane shield around it.
Oh, perfect.
The earth elemental will try to, based on what you said, will try to grab his staff from him. Oh my. The earth elemental gets a plus 5 to that, so that's a 21. He's gonna try. Oh yeah, that fails. The earth elemental grabs the staff from him, and it takes the staff and breaks it in two.
Oh man.
Wait 1 second.
Whoa. Nice going 15. Slash rock
So,
pillar.
a lot's about to happen here.
Uh-oh.
That's when I realized I might die.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
sorta.
Oh,
Thank you, Maggie
Oh, Lord.
Wolf 0501, for following.
thank you, then.
Boy, thank you, man. Just had a lot of charges left. First of all,
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna have to roll a d100. There's a 50% chance that
Oh,
the rock
boy.
element will be whisked away.
Yep.
If he rolls under 50, he does not. He does not get whisked away.
There's a
Wow.
lot of
Excellent.
little things that happened here.
Every charge that was left in the staff, it does 16 points of force damage.
Yeah.
To different degrees. So that's to him. That's first to the rock elemental. So the rock elemental takes. I have to open up my calculator. Hold on. I'm not that good at math. 15
See,
times
there were several points where I could have not died.
240 damage. The rock element completely obliterates as this explosion goes off. Everybody outside on the other side of the force wall just sees like the whole side of this room just turns into fire, but the force wall is keeping it out.
But Fitz is fine, right?
Fit.
Our old
Right.
buddy Fitz.
Immune
You're-
to this.
was 10 feet away. So you only take oh shit. Fitz.
Yeah.
The explosion happens, and you see in slow motion
Yes.
as the fireball is coming out. You see the red wizard get taken aback by it as his body starts to fly backwards. You see Fitz as well get taken by this fireball, by this big boom that's happening from this staff. Fitz, you fly into the corner, and all you guys hear is like and a big blood splatter as Fitz dies. It's obliterated by it.
Wait, what? No, what?
The
What?
the red wizard.
What?
What?
The red wizard gets hit by it. You see him fly up against the wall. You hear a familiar crack as well as he falls down. He doesn't look obliterated, but he is not conscious as the force wall falls. And we are out of combat.
Well,
Woof.
Is there anything left of Fitz?
You go over to that was literally
Fitz?
his last move in case things happen bad. But you go over to Fitz, who well go over here. You see them take a drink. You see his magic items are intact, so you see like his cloak, his weapon is on the ground for now. Like you see parts of his clothing is there, but you see underneath a completely crushed body. You see his neck at an angle it shouldn't be, his limbs at angles they shouldn't be. You see his vest, indeed. You see his armor is almost like it shouldn't be that thin after being hit up against the wall. His body's on the ground. He is definitely dead.
Fitz.
Well,
Let's take him. Let's take him with us. I'm sure we can. We can figure
Yes,
something
let's.
out.
I'm
Since
going
he's
to
dead, I kind of wrap his
I'm going to take my
body.
axe and attack the fallen wizard. Even though we're out of combat, I'm gonna strike at his neck while he's
take his
unconscious.
robes off.
easy enough. You're able to completely cleave his head off. He is dead now. For what it's worth, Fitz one-shot at the wizard.
That's
amazing.
crazy. I wrap up Fitz's body as gently as I can. I put him in my bag and hold.
Yeah. Wow. So it's
that was your death.
yeah,
Let's
Well,
unpack
it's-
that for a minute.
definitely. So it's funny just how many small points went into that. Like in our first altercation with the Red Wizard's minions, where Fitz was like a boss and like did a dispel magic on a simulacrum that could have lightninged the shit out of us, did once actually, and like just dismantled it. And there was this female Red Wizard apprentice that he was totally like making eyes at, and then ultimately killed, but like felt bad about it, and then was trying to revive this female apprentice who looked to be in her like late 90s, but very aged really well. He was trying to revive her when giant monkey Alpha was like, "Don't revive the enemy," and like smashed her body again. So, but so Fitz felt like he had a connection to this Red Wizard, so he searched her body, as one does when you like someone, found the gem, found a diary that detailed how to use the gem, and also a little bit about her personal life. And then later, when the Red Wizard killed Alpha's mother, because she was a very powerful demon, and he had a word of death spell because he's insanely powerful. So when he one-shotted Alpha's massively powerful demon mother with his one-hit death no save kill spell,
To work.
with his kill word, we were like, oh, we better go out after him. And Fitz was like, okay, to throw him off the scent, I'm gonna like hold my hands behind my back and pretend to be a prisoner. So then when we found where in his cavern the Red Wizard was hiding, instead of trying to wait it out and make him come to us, we went into the place where he had fortified himself with a massive shield wall, which we should have seen coming. But Fitz was still looked like the Red Wizard, the like his apprentice.
Right.
And then Fitz was like trying to seduce him to just like throw him off the scent a bit and be like, "Hey, if I die, Master, you know I've always had feelings for you." And Fitz rolled really high, so the Red Wizard was like, "Oh wow, well, I haven't had sex in about 400 years, but we'll talk when this is over." Um,
Yeah.
so so all this was happening, and then we start attacking the Red Wizard. Not only did he like one hit take out, like even though he had already used his kill word on our most powerful ally, Alpha's mother, he then one spell took out our second paladin, Ralph. Nobody could get through this massive wall. So Fitz
Except
used
for Jessica with her psychic dagger.
true, yeah. Jessica's psychic blade was able to get through the wall, but not the armor. Not the Red Wizard's
Bro,
shield spell on his cloak. Just the just the shield wall. But yeah, so then Fitz was like, "Oh wait, I have something for this." While he's looking at everybody else, because I'm the apprentice, just
but you're
gonna
not
walk into the ethereal plane.
but you were not sure it was going to work.
I wasn't. But Fitz figured that if anything can get through a shield wall, it's some dude walking through the ethereal plane. And
Yeah.
it turned out he was right. He was able to use Blink to teleport into the Red Wizard sphere. So naturally, the next move was to smash the demon, to smash the stone and let out the rock demon to do the fighting for him. And then Fitz was like, okay, the wizard is powerful, so we could have the rock guy hit the wizard, or what if the shield wall is linked to the stick? See, Fitz thought that the stick was what was making the shield wall.
Right.
So you break the stick, the shield wall goes down. Didn't realize that the stick was an offensive weapon that contained inside of it the massive amount of firepower that the rock thing smashed it.
No.
And then
No, actually, what it is anytime any magical object has charges in it, if you break it, those charges go off immediately, and anything in the general vicinity will take damage from that explosion of those spells. So that is just something that was natural to breaking a magical object with charges. That happens with anything that has magical charges in it. It's like lighting a stick of dynamite and then going kapow, right? So you did not know that.
no,
That
Fitz
makes
and Michael both had no idea that was the case.
yes, and that's fine because it made this death all the better.
Well, what's horribly funny is that right after that, Fitz was like, "Well, this is fun. I'm just going to go back to the ethereal plane after this." But then, Fitz really wanted that just swinging and hitting the Red Wizard as he walked by. So then I used all my rerolls on trying to hit the damn Red Wizard. Didn't. And then when I rolled for Blink to go back to the ethereal plane,
that failed.
didn't.
You got a 1.
Yeah. So I got a 1. I rolled myself my own death. So Fitz like teleports into this thing, smashes the gem, takes out his scimitar, swings a couple times as he saunters past the Red Wizard, doesn't hit him, but whatever. And then is like, "All right, I'm a bounce." Oh shit. Oh no.
Yeah. It reminds me of a few movies, but yeah, that is your heroic sacrifice of Fitz. That thank you so much, Michael, for coming to the second brain for this epic rundown of your character and of Art of the Rule happening on. Well, you tell the audience.
Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. And previous episodes are also on YouTube under Art of the Roll as well. If you want me to post this, I'll give you some links for it. Yeah. So, I'm really glad that Fitz's death was heroic and he sacrificed himself for the team, but it was also there. It also contained a degree of arrogant stupidity, like, oh, I'm gonna be fine. I'm just gonna go back into the ethereal plane after. No. Oh shit!
It's a bit of a risk thing. It's you're in the moment, and
He took a risk.
you took a risk. It didn't really work out, but it came to a head of epic sacrifice, heroic sacrifice for the team. In other words, taking one for the team.
Oh God, did he?
And so the team is now going in the next episode, I believe 40. They're going to find some cleric. They're going to try and use the wish spell, and they're going to try and bring you back to life.
I hope it works. Although, I don't know. I do also have another character that, if it doesn't work, is ready to hop in here.
I'm pretty sure it's going to work. It is a
Larry.
wish. Larry.
Okay.
Wow, we look forward to seeing Larry in future. So, anyways, thank you for coming. This has been.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming to the Second Brain podcast for this special Art of the Roll Death of Fitz. And we shall see you on the flip side.
Yeah, hopefully see you Thursday, Paul.
Take care, man. Bye. All right, Michael, thank you so much.
Oh,
That was a great hour of epic proportions. I hope
well, that
Greg,
was really fun, man. Yeah.
I hope Greg appreciates this, and Amalia and everyone on the team. So yeah.
I hope so, but I think they will. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
So, like I said, I'm gonna post this right after the recap on Monday. So it'll be posted on Monday, right after the recap finishes. So
Perfect.
yes,
Perfect timing, Paul. Thanks for doing this, man.
thank you.
I hope they really appreciate it, but I definitely really appreciate it too.
Well, thank you. It's always great talking to you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's cool that you're doing this, man. I'm glad we finally put me on your podcast. That's very exciting to me.
Yes, same here, same here. So I've confirmed a few other guests, and it's gonna be great.
Nice.
Right,
Yes, it will.
later, man.
Have a good night, Paul.
Ciao. The network, the neurons, the mastermind. With Second Brain, they entertain.